You're listening to The Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 in Tuscaloosa. Never miss a moment of the app. Free Tide 100.9 app today. Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A very pleasant morning. The sky clear. Will be in the upper 50s by daybreak, around 58. Later today, a big warm up. The sky's sunny, the high 83. And we stay dry Thursday and Friday. Lots of sunshine both days with highs right around 80. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 57 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Eddie Garcia.
Check out postseason baseball. We had a pair of NLDS games and both wins for the home teams. The Padres defeat the Dodgers 6-5. San Diego scored all 6 of their runs in the second inning. Fernando Tatis Jr. hit a 2-run homer, and David Peralta had a 2 RBI double. LA did get a solo homer from Mookie Betts and a grand slam from Teoscar Hernandez, but not enough. San Diego leads that best-of-5 series 2-1. Mets over the Phillies 7-2. New York got solo homers from Pete Alonso and Jesse Winker. Jose Iglesias and Starling Marte each drove in a pair of runs in support of starter Sean Manaea, who went 7 innings, allowed 1 run, 3 hits, 6 strikeouts in the win. New York leads that best-of-5 series 2-1. News from the NFL, where the New York Jets fire head coach Robert Saleh after a 2-3 start to the season. He was in his 4th season as head coach. Saleh's teams never made the playoffs. His overall record is 20-36. Defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich has been named interim head coach for the rest of the season.
Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there, and I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. And you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to pick you, and our running back coach didn't take the pass. Biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by Fox Eye Care. As we kick off this Wednesday edition of the show, the playbook today is how does Bama rebound from the loss to Vandy? Vision coverage, the pros and cons. How will South Alabama attack the Tide? Self-redshirting. What is a student athlete these days? And many, many more things.
We kind of got a wild card Wednesday, man. It's yeah, that's a interesting concept in this vision coverage. That's because one of our callers yesterday, viewers, asked the question: What have these coaches figured out on third down and all of that? So we're going to talk about that a little bit. Several other key topics that we can kind of roll with. If you tune in on the live stream, you see I put my Make Fullback Great Again shirt up there, X, kind of hinting at I have been saying this for years. And it finally came to fruition. I don't know why I haven't brought this up all week, X. I have been saying if the option would help you when it was ground and pound because you kept guys confused and standing still and wondering and guessing, and you prevented them from playing, who's going to be the first one that goes back to a physical brand of football with creativity? Vanderbilt did it, and they have been in. Now, the only game they lost was Georgia State that you say, okay, how did that happen? Well, that happened because Georgia State do what they do. IRU. But the other times they have been able to equalize themselves against better opponents. And it's because of the physical nature of the triple option, but they added the pistol to it. They've added running plays off of it. They've added the creativity, shuttle passes, motion, passing, and all of that off of it. So if no one told you that was a triple option, you wouldn't think old school. You think physical football. Well, part of physical football to me is the fullback. And they didn't use the fullback to block. They just used it. They just had a one-back fullback last week, and they just dove. Jerome Bettis made it to the NFL off of that one play. Notre Dame just giving it to him. And that's what Vanderbilt did, and they built off of it. So make fullbacks great again. I think South Carolina looked a lot like Vanderbilt this week. They have a more athletic quarterback, may not be as dynamic, but he's more of a bigger, stronger athlete. Maybe not more athletic is the way to do it. But there's so much to get to, X, and we're going to try to get it all in. But I definitely want to talk about this vision coverage thing. It had some pros, but we saw it had some cons. And I wish I had more time, X, and I wish everybody could listen. I mean, could visually see what I'm doing. So I'm not going to do the visual and play the clip because the listening audience wouldn't be able to catch it. So I'll try to walk through some plays and conversations as we move forward. Remember that this is the day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice, be glad in it, take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Outside of those football topics, we will be adding the Harvest Church Christian Moment of the Week to the end of the program. And we had a topic yesterday, and I think some people may want to talk about that with Malachi Moore. Is that the tipping point for this program, X? And if it's not handled correctly, it could be really bad. If it's handled correctly, it could be really beneficial. I'll toss it to you.
As we kick it off, we've talked about Vanderbilt ad nauseum through 2 days and the loss and things of that nature. But the question is now, Alabama has a game to play Saturday. They have a very good South Carolina team that went toe-to-toe with LSU. Yeah, they got blown out by Ole Miss last week. But this is a team that can beat Alabama with what we've seen from the last 6 quarters. As you mentioned, they have 2 really athletic quarterbacks. Now, the question is, which quarterback is the guy Saturday? Do we see both? And that's Lenore Sellers and Robbie Ashford, both really athletic guys. How does Alabama rebound with facing a similar team as far as what they can do running the football?
Well, the good news is that that's not their base offense, what Vanderbilt did. I'm sure they probably looked at a couple of plays from that game, X, and they are probably drilling those plays, but they don't have as much to build off of. Vanderbilt's offense in motions and shifts and action post play all builds off of the dive play. And so in Alabama was just confused and they were standing a lot. So I don't think that you'll see as much of that, but I do think you will see them do a little bit of that pistol dive and maybe have a couple of those trip option threats. I'm sure they'll put the shuttle pass in, things that they can execute and practice in a week. But the same problem that we had last week, giving our defense a good look, X, would be the same problem their offense will have picking up a brand new, totally different philosophy in a week. But we will see some of that. And I think that's what they're going to do. And the one thing you do against Alabama is you keep your best defense against Alabama is to keep our offense on the field. And so they're going to try to get to first, second, third down, first, second, third down, first, second, third down, field goal, first, second, third down, go for it, fourth down type of thing. So that's going to be the That's going to be the key.
Yeah, and I think what Alabama has to do to rebound is to do the little things right. To play their assignments, to not be so stand and wait, catch and go. And that's what the problem was, in my opinion, Saturday, was Alabama was, instead of being instinctive and reactionary, they were being hesitant and reactionary. And a lot of times you would see our linebackers catching the running back, catching the quarterback, and they weren't able to be instinctive and attack and go after the guys and meet them in the hole. They were catching a lot. There's one play in particular where Jahad Campbell, you see it open up, but because his eyes were so much, there was so much going on that instead of attacking the hole and meeting the running back in the hole, he's standing right where he was, gets hit and gets pushed back between the combination of the running backs forcing the offensive line pushing for about a 5 or 6 yard gain. And that was something that you saw repetitively. So I think that's what has to happen defensively. Offensively,
hold on.
Yes.
Hey, before you go, the other thing is something that we've been really excited about defensively is magnified by the style offense that they run. Vision coverage. And I don't have time to get into it right here because we're on a different topic. But when we come back to vision coverage, the reason we were catching some of the time had to do with vision coverage. And I'll explain that later on in the program in the next segment. We got a couple callers.
Yeah, we have Pat joining us on the Empowerment Strategy Solutions Hotline. Pat wants to talk about the redshirting before 4 games going on during the season. How you doing this morning, Pat?
Good morning, guys. We hired a fella paying him $750,000 a year to make sure this kind of thing is nipped in the bud. They may be wanting to process this young man. I don't know, but 6'5", 320 pounds. You just can't coach that. You either got it or you don't.
Look like Tarzan, play like Jane.
Look like Tarzan, play like Jane. But that wasn't the case 2 years ago, Martin.
He wasn't injured.
Has Freddie Roach done a really, really bad job developing this young man? What's the issue?
He was injured all last year. He came in and played as a freshman. He lost weight. He's a different athlete. He didn't have as much competition, and he wants it to be given to him. Next question, okay. Pat. That ain't got anything to do with it. You just called out Courtney Morgan, and this has nothing to do with Courtney Morgan. This has 100% to do, Pat, with you, me, all of us said that this guy would be a lot of us said this would be our breakout player on the defensive line, Pat.
Yeah, and that's what we thought.
And he can't get on the field. So do you think that Freddie Roach them don't want to play him? Or is he wanting something? He struggled with injury, which I don't think he's ever had, Pat. He struggled with competition. Listen, I have been on the football field, Pat, as a player, and guys come in and they're given something and an opportunity, and sometimes they get that opportunity and they look like they're ready to play because there's not competition. Then when competition comes in, they don't know how to respond. They don't know. I was told this, Pat. Someone told him, said, man, if you get that right between your ears, you're going to have to buy some new pants with deep pockets. You know what that means, Pat?
Yeah, but he's going to make a lot of money.
He's going to make a lot of money if he gets physically better. Not if he gets physically better, if he gets mentally stronger and better. And that's the problem with this red shirt, Pat. When do you think he decided this, Pat? If he couldn't just up and transfer and red shirt himself, he probably fights harder. But now that he knows that he can go, okay, let me see what's out there. I'm going to redshirt myself, which is ludicrous. then he can go and he can cherry pick. Oh, this team doesn't have any competition at my position. I'm going there so I can be the superstar again. And here's the thing, Pat. He very well will go there, probably go somewhere and be really, really good. But that doesn't mean that he would have done the same thing here.
I follow you.
You ready to get out of here? You got anything else real quick?
Yeah. I just hope that Renard and some of the other ones are ready to play so that we've got quality backups going into the playoffs if we can get to the playoffs, because we're going to need lots and lots of defensive linemen.
All right, Pat. Yeah, I think we'll be fine on defensive line without him. I don't know what he brought to the table based on the attitude I'm seeing right now. So thanks, Pat. Hey, I'm Martin Houston, and I want to tell you about exciting news happening at Box Eye Care. They moved to their new location, bringing you a brand new lab, stylish new frames, and a fresh look just for you. Enjoy their expanded frame inventory, competitive prices, and faster service, all with the same great level of service you've come to know and trust. Discover this full-service eye care at Box Eye Care's new location. With their in-house lab, they offer unbeatable value and one of the largest frame collections in town. Schedule your eye exam today and walk out with new glasses in less than an hour in most cases. Visit boxeyecare.com. That's boxeyecare.com, or call 205-342-0660. That's 205-342-0660. Visit them at 5003 Oscar Baxter Drive. That's Box Eye Care. Your vision, our priority. Hey, I'm Mark.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. A very good morning to you. Not seeing any significant slowdowns. We do have some intersection delays, just slight ones here on McFarland on the eastbound lanes to Lurleen Wallace. Otherwise, the construction zones are a given. So you do have that on 2059 eastbound between Joe Malisham and McFarland. Not really any slow goes right now, just to tap on the brakes. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Tammy Thomas.
This report is sponsored by Unbound.org.
It's the year-end clearance sale at Townsend Nissan going on now. You can save thousands. See BJ or Kylan today at Townsend Nissan, your savings place.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at Unbound.org.
Welcome to Hey Taylor Electrical. Wendy, what's your question?
I know I've seen Taylor Electrical trucks and crews around the University of Alabama, the local schools, and the New River District Park, but I need to know, do you do work at people's homes?
Actually, we do, Wendy. Taylor Electrical takes pride in having the experience and knowledge to handle any electrical project.
Wow, that's awesome. Taylor Electrical sounds really customer friendly. How can I get in touch with y'all?
Just call or text us at 205-553-0958.
It's electric. Tommy! I can't wait for golf this weekend, huh, buddy? Time flies. Love you, man. Oh, don't forget your knee brace again. We aren't in college anymore.
Moments together matter, so help protect yourself from RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV, and there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at VaxAssist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hey, Jen, I just stopped in to say hello. Oh my gosh, look how busy it is in here. How did you get all these customers?
Yeah, this month has been a record breaker for us. For a long time, we had decent business coming in from word of mouth, but we weren't really growing. Lately, though, a lot of new folks have been finding us online, and that's made all the difference.
That's terrific. I wish I could figure out how to do that for my shop, but I have no idea where to start.
Just do what I did. It's not as hard as you think. Go to mylocalcustomers.com to see exactly how many searches there are here for businesses like yours.
Okay, then what?
If you see that there are a good number of clients searching in our area, you'll also get some suggestions for the best way to get their attention.
Do you think there are a lot of people searching for my business?
There's only one way to find out. Go to mylocalcustomers.com. It's quick, easy, and free.
Go to mylocalcustomers.com for a free local customer analysis that will show you how many Tuscaloosa customers are searching online for your type of business. It's quick, easy, and free. Visit mylocalcustomers.com. That's mylocalcustomers.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
It's a dry forecast through the weekend. Lots of sunshine today, the high 83. Clear tonight, the low 57. For tomorrow and Friday, the sky's sunny both days. Highs between 78 and 81. And Saturday, sunny with a high at 81. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 55 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
DC Battery Supply takes care of all of your battery needs. Find the commercial batteries you're after and never feel powerless again. Come check out our Northport and Tuscaloosa locations or call us at 205-758-9190. And once again, power up all your devices by using Dixie Battery Supply, DixieBatterySupply.com. They offer reconditioned batteries starting at $39.99, and you will find all the batteries you need. And don't forget to ask us about our golf carts. That's DixieBatterySupply.com. All right, we're back in and at it, X, and we got a couple people waiting, and we're getting some comments. So let's go ahead and get to the phone lines. Alan, you're in on the Empowerment Strategies and Solutions Hotline with Martin and Xavier.
Good morning. If I was Malachi Moore, I would, and Coach DeBoer, I would suspend myself for a semester. For a half. To me, that would save face on it. If he suspends himself for, that would show character. That would show, the coach didn't have to get involved with it. Because right now, a lot of those pro scouts are seeing this, and that's money out of his pocket. Is you uncoachable that you won't bring they try to get you out of the game and you don't want to come? To me, is that possible for a player to suspend himself?
X, I'll let you respond and I'll give you my thoughts.
Technically, yeah. A player could suspend themselves. I don't know if it's ever been done, but it's a possibility.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. I think his response has been okay, Alan. But supposedly he's now went on to say that say something else negative, that Womack didn't get them the plays in on time. I didn't hear that, but one of our viewers said that was said. I don't know if that's true or not, but
he said the plays coming in, the calls coming in late is causing, and there's that word again, anxiety.
Yeah, and I it was a couple times I saw where they didn't look ready, but for the most part, I didn't see them moving or scrambling as the play was coming down the clock. So, you know what I mean? Like, I just didn't see that. Here's my biggest thing, Alan, and Alabama fans and all this stuff. And I said this a little bit yesterday, said it on Ryan Fowler's show. I have been amazed at the number of people who have justified, because it's Alabama football, Malachi Moore's response. Now, Malachi.
Exactly. I totally agree.
But Malachi hasn't been the one saying it. Malachi came out and said, I was wrong. I had the wrong attitude. I didn't represent myself, my family, or Alabama correctly. The Alabama fans, shame on the adults calling these radio shows and saying, I don't blame him. I would have kicked the ball. I'd have kicked it in the stands. I would have did this and I would have did that. I don't blame him. He had passion. He was right. That's what's wrong with our country. We justify behavior when it fits our thing. Malachi was wrong with the way he reacted.
Yep.
And he was slightly wrong when he told his teammate to go off. But that happens. Let me tell you something. There have been times that you don't see it, where I was running out on the field and Kevin was like, I got this from Martin. There was times when I would wave Kevin off. That happens. Okay. But when a coach tells you to come out and walks out on the field and all that, and then you wave the coach off and the assistant coach and the head coach, that's different. But Malachi owned it. Malachi has owned it. So I have zero issue with Malachi. Okay. My problem is is that the fans are calling up and saying they don't blame him for doing it. Where was that passion at when he got beat on 4th down and 1? Where was that passion at when he let Stover go back and watch this game? Stover, however you say his name. There was a play where he was coming up and he pulled up on the tackle, and the guy broke the tackle of Red Morgan and stretched out and got a first down. He had him stop behind the third first down marker. Malachi was coming up, and now I don't know if he would have got there or not, but he didn't finish him off. He let up.
Right,
he may not got there in time.
Right.
But and then on the play that they got the first down, when the quarterback got hit in the mouth by Red Morgan, and the running back runs right past Malachi, and you see Malachi swipe at him and go flying out of bounds as somebody else makes the tackle. That's when he should have been getting mad. Where was that passion and fire at X throughout the game? Because that's
the thing.
I did not see one time
for me.
Huh?
That's what was frustrating for me. Like, I get being mad. I get the passion. I mean, a lot of us played sports. A lot of us played football. You don't get mad when it's done and over with. You get mad and you try to make a difference. That was one thing I remember you used to always tell Simeon when he played. Get mad, get angry. And when he would, he made a play. He made a difference. So the way he did it was just bad.
I say learn to play mad without somebody doing something to make you mad or the game flowing in a way to make you mad. Learn to turn that button on by yourself. And when you do, you will be unstoppable. This Alabama team, with the talent they have, if they learn to turn their own knob to feel – see, if you're going to be the number one team in the country, you know, on the sideline, you see me, I smile. You see me smiling between the plays. But by the time I was a fifth-year senior and understood it, when the ball was snapped, I was as mean as anybody on the field. When the play was over, I was fine. But you didn't have to do something. You didn't have to hit me in the back. We didn't have to lose. I didn't have to make a mistake. We didn't have to have a penalty for me to be angry when I was playing. That's how you play the game, controlled aggression. And I did not see that Saturday. And when I saw aggression, it was out of control. Where was that the entire game? X, Chase? That's what I want to see.
It's crazy kind of seeing all of this kind of transpiring because I've never seen this with Alabama football. I'm so used to kind of everybody keeping their emotions together, playing to the standard. I think the issue, I think it's a coaching thing. I think the fact that Malachi thought it was okay to do all those things and knowing that they're losing to Vandy, like you take a loss with grace as you take grace with winning. Like it doesn't change either other like result. Malachi knows better. He apologized, and I watched the when he addressed it yesterday. I was very proud of him. But he's a captain. I'm surprised the board didn't suspend him because I think on the Miller's Edge, Christian had said that he got yelled at bad by Nick Saban for even jumping offside. So I think it's a coaching issue, and I feel like if they don't nip this in the butt really quickly, it's going to spew over into South Carolina, and then we got bigger issues to fry, and it's going to look really bad for the Tide.
Yeah, you're not wrong, Chase. I mean, when you look at it, and that's the part that for me, he is a fifth-year senior. He is a captain, and that's why I feel like there should be a little bit more responsibility held upon him. Because I know people talk about, Mekhi Brown in the national championship game against Georgia when he went off on the sideline, blah, 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 all this stuff. Yeah, that was bad, and that was up under Coach Saban. But it doesn't compare to what we saw on Saturday. And then there's a clip of Ronnie Harrison getting mad. And you don't even know who he's getting mad at on the sideline. And Reuben Foster grabs him and gets in his face and says, sit down, calm down. But once again, that was on the sideline. This was on the field, affecting the play when you should be trying to get the ball back. All that hoop and hollering and stuff, didn't mean anything because you weren't making the plays.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And what I want to say is I don't know what's his name. I don't want to say that he needs to suspend or he needs to address it. And he needs to address it in such a way that is clear. Some people think that's suspension. It may be, but I raised 4 kids, Chase. Okay. And I had one I had to spank a lot. I had one that if I threatened that I was going to spank, they cried. And I didn't have to worry about that action happening. You see what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So I don't want to say what he needs to do in terms of the exact action, but this has to be addressed from the coaching standpoint. If it's sitting in the room and saying, you got your one time, young man, you ever do that again, you will be on the sideline watching and wanting to get in the game. And I would rather us not have you on the field and producing the next man up than you. And that'll hurt us this year, but it's going to hurt you in the long run because the NFL scouts are going to wonder, why aren't you playing? That may be all that he has to say because of Malachi's character. I don't know that, but you could suspend some people and it doesn't change. If punishment always worked, then every young person that ever went to jail would never be a repeat offender. Right? So I don't want us to say what he needs to do in terms of the specifics, but it has to be addressed, Chase, to your point, and it has to be addressed strong. Now, what strong looks like under him, I don't know. Because there was times, everybody forgets, there was times when people wanted Saban to suspend people and do stuff. I played with Coach Stallings and David Palmer. David Palmer had a couple of DUIs in a very short window. The media absolutely called for him to be kicked off the team because he had DUIs, which is extremely serious.
Underage.
That is so much worse than what we're talking about here in terms of the potential loss of life and all of that. And Coach Stallings came to the team and said, Leadership Council, how do we want to handle this? And we said, Coach, let's look at the person. If you suspend him, take his scholarship, kick him off of this team, where will he end up in the long run? This is his opportunity to turn his life around and learn from this and grow from this and not end up where he may end up if he has to go back. And I'm not dogging where he grew up, but he grew up in a tough environment. And we decided that let's keep him on the team, but let's suspend him. And we set that punishment as a team who loved our teammate. The media didn't know what we decided, but it was strong, and this kid turned his life around. And we were all kids at that time, but I'm speaking of him, not me to him, but at that time. And maybe that and you don't know. Anyway, we need to get the break here. X, we'll come back on the other side. Like I said, I hate Malachi did it. I think it's a tipping point. I hope they addressed it strongly. And I believe, let's talk about on the other side, X, how this can help Alabama and South Carolina. And I do want to answer the pros and cons question on vision coverage.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. A very good morning to you. Not seeing any significant slowdowns. We do have some intersection delays, just slight ones here on McFarland on the eastbound lanes to Lurleen Wallace. Otherwise, the construction zones are a given. So you do have that on 2059 eastbound between Joe Malisham and McFarland. Not really any slow goes right now, just to tap on the brakes. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Tammy Thomas.
The Rise Center will host its annual Buy for Rise charity sale October October 27th and 28th. A preview party and sale will be held at Rise, 600 Johnny Stallings Drive from 5 to 8 p.m. on Friday, October 27th. Tickets can be purchased in advance for $10. The event continues with free admission from 8 to 11 a.m. on Saturday, October 28th.
If you hear the words, "you have cancer," no, you're not alone. At DCH's Lewis and Fay Manderson Cancer Center, we provide cancer care close to home with comprehensive services in a friendly, relaxed atmosphere. West Alabamians diagnosed with cancer have access to our state-of-the-art facility, highly skilled staff, and the most advanced equipment available. And if needed, our inpatient cancer care unit is right next door to DCH Regional Medical Center. Learn more at dchsystem.com/cancer.
Extravagant, luxurious, lavish. The $7 Lux Cravings Box from Taco Bell satisfies all your crunchiest, cheesiest, sauciest cravings. Indulge in a beefy 5-layer burrito, chicken chalupa supreme, Doritos Locos Taco, and chips and a drink for an unluxurious price. It's Lux for less. Get yours today at Taco Bell. At participating Taco Bell stores for a limited time only while supplies last. Price and participation vary. Drinks excludes freezes. Tax extra.
Town Square Media Tuscaloosa delivers results for businesses across West Alabama, reaching consumers listening to our 8 local radio brands and reading our online content. We provide custom marketing solutions.
Hey, this is Brian Finnison at the Venue Tuscaloosa. Town Square Media has changed my business as being a new business in town. The local folks, the attitude that they take toward my business of caring, it's changed the way we do business. With the Venue being in business for right at a year now, going into our second season, we're already seeing the increases that Town Square Media are pulling new customers and their outreach. As far as our concerts and all of the new activities we have, it's because we're on the radio and we're reaching out to new folks every day.
Let us help you grow your business. Click on TuscaloosaThread.com or Town Square Media Tuscaloosa radio websites. Fill out the Advertise Here form. Put the power of Town Square Media to work for your business.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Timberland in West Alabama or East Mississippi, North River Timber Company has you covered. Since 2011, Courtney White, a registered forester, along with his expert team, have been managing timberland and harvesting timber across 4 West Alabama counties. They offer comprehensive timber management plans, reforestation services, and appraisals. Courtney White says timber is like money in the bank. Don't let your investment go unrealized. Call North River Timber Company today. Email them at northrivertimberco@gmail.com or call 205-242-5127.
Welcome back into the Martin Hughes Show. As we kick off the second half, we have some rapid fire questions to get to. One of the things that you brought up was the vision coverage and the pros and cons of it. What are some things that you see that are the pros in it, and how it has helped Alabama at this point of the season?
We got really excited because we have more pass breakups. I don't know about after last week, but we're going into last week. I think we were leading the nation, or at least in the top 3 in pass breakups. We have more interceptions or more potential interceptions than we've ever had. We saw it be part of the reason what's his name was able to make that great play last week, in Brown. But and so the pros is that it helps you gets you less PIs, it gets you more breakups, it gets you more interceptions. So and it helps you stop a dual threat quarterback who pulls it down and runs. That's my pros. X, you there? Is X there?
You see guys that, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know what happened. You see guys that are more reactionary, as you stated, to the ball and things of that nature. And I think a lot of I think you could say just about every interception Alabama's had this year has been because of this. You think about Damani Jackson, if he had been looking at the wide receiver, he doesn't step up and get that interception against Georgia on what was supposed to be a screen pass or whatever that was. You talked about Xavier's interception, Jihad when he jumps in front of Beck's pass. Those are all the positives of it. What do you see some of the negatives to be?
Hey, listen. The catching last week. You know why we had linebackers catching guys? Because it looked like a pass when he would go back, but then he'd hand it off. Right? Where were their eyes at? They on
the quarterback.
Now let me say this. These guys did not play the vision coverage correctly. Okay. Let me say that. Go back and look at some of the dive plays where the linebackers, instead of them going to their responsibility, they were looking at the quarterback. Like the dive was going, and they were looking at the quarterback. And one time, it was one play where he faked it to the running back, but because they were watching him, by the time, instead of going to their responsibility, they were still in their spot. Okay? Go back and I want all of you to go back and look at the 4th down, the 4th and 1. Go back and look at the 4th and 1. Now, remember, I'm telling you that the vision coverage played correctly. This doesn't happen. This was execution on the Alabama guy. I think they were so worried about somebody else's responsibility X that they didn't do their own. Go back and look at the 4th down. Sab and Malachi both, the receiver went right between them.
Yep.
He was open from the moment he left the line of scrimmage, and neither one of them looked at him until he was by them and threw his hands up. That happened a couple times. You go back and look over and over and over, the reason the guy was getting out in the flat, the question was, how do you get somebody out in the flat against Alabama? What are they doing on 3rd down? They do motion, and the Alabama defenders are getting caught looking at the quarterback, and their man, and they're one step slow on their man. Go back and look at how often we're just one tick from being in the right position. It's because we picked up our guy late. Vision coverage is you get your man first. You have to know the receivers who can threaten your area, no matter where they come from, whether it's the guy lined up directly in front of you or if it's a guy from the backside. If he can come across the formation and threaten your area, you have to be aware of that. And that's what Alabama's not doing on this vision coverage. And that's why. And if the quarterback doesn't run, X, you're looking where? If he scrambles, but he's not scrambling to run, what happens? You lose.
Your guy is getting away.
You lose track of your man. And that's why we're getting beat, I think, on 3rd and 4th down. That's why Georgia had players running wide open. Or what you call it? Because, I mean, just think if you take your eye off of Ryan Williams for 1/10 of a second.
Oh, he's gone.
He's made a move, and he's in another zip code.
Yeah, and that is the negative if you're not doing it correctly. That you can't sit there and you can't have your eyes so fixated on the quarterback that you forget about everybody else that's around you. Especially with his man.
It's man with vision coverage, not vision coverage with man.
Right.
Man with vision coverage.
Man with vision coverage. And that's what Alabama has to work on. So maybe that's something that we'll see this week, and hopefully that is an adjustment. When you look at this South Carolina team, they've got some playmakers. They've got it, like we've said, athletic quarterback, good running back. They have a 6'5" wide receiver that runs a 4'2". They can be dangerous. and he's not just 6'5", he's 240 pounds. So there's Nicholas Harvey. He's a freak of nature. So that's something that Alabama has to be concerned with, especially if they do an option pass where it's a pitch option, he steps back, throws it deep. So I think Alabama's odds really have to be good this week, but those are definitely some of the cons within running this system. But we've got Chuck Hunt real quick. How you doing this morning, Chuck?
Hey, how you doing? I am be quick. I didn't be calling because I know this is a week. Let's make cool heads prevail. Some of you were talking about the young man on the team, about his behavior. Brother Houston, that says a lot about you as a person. Back during the time with David Palmer, you realize that, hey, look, I'm looking at my brother from a holistic standpoint, not just as my teammate. And you realize what we'd be doing to him with could have been you. You could have been in his shoes, and you realize that. Look, no, you don't want to throw him under the bus.
Right, absolutely, and that's what
that says a lot about you. Yeah,
but it wasn't just me; it was our entire leadership team, and I don't.
Yes.
But we did. That was our approach. So yeah, Chuck, thanks for highlighting that. And if those of you don't know what he's talking about, we were just talking about how we handled the David Palmer thing. And I'll quickly say Virgil Williams' ex. He talked about. Saban is gone. Newsflash, breaking news right here on October 9th, 2024. Alabama fan base. Nick Saban is retired and gone and not coming back. Our coach is Kalen DeBoer. He is different. He will operate different. He will function different. The same guy that lost to Vanderbilt is the same guy that's 6-0 against the best coaches in this country. Don't forget that, Bama fans. Do not mess up a good thing by our wanting Nick Saban and talking about Nick Saban and all of this. Don't mess up a good thing, because I promise you, there's going to be a lot of teams that'll be like, hey, you don't have to put up with that. Come over here. And he's proven that he can compete with less talent. Let's give him time. Actually, one last thing on the vision coverage. Sometimes that can happen in the third down piece of that is go back and watch that game and watch how many times Vanderbilt brought people across the backside of the formation, across the line of scrimmage. Okay. So if you say, for instance, if you have 3 receivers on one side, 2 on the other side, and you're in a man coverage scenario, and that guy at the snap stands still, right? He doesn't move. He's going to block. He's like the H-back going to block. But then he releases either out into your flat, and that happened with Stower on one of the scrambles where we had the quarterback sacked, but then we had a wide open guy. It's because he acted like he was going to block. Well, the DBs were looking, and Jihad was looking at the quarterback. And when he released, nobody had him. That's how they're getting us guys on third down so successful.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
And another thing real quick from the Vandy game, I know there was a couple of their legal pick plays where they would bring that back out of the backfield, run a slant, and as long as the ball's thrown behind the line of scrimmage, you can't call it in college. And so there happened several times where Jihad or Deontay would get picked on their way to the running back, and that was what gave him the room to sneak out of the backfield and have separation for first downs.
And watch this, we got to get the break. Man, X, one of the things, go back and watch the first shuttle pass, Bama Nation, and you're going to blame this on, we're blaming it all on Womack. Deontay went underneath the block. And when he went underneath the block, he got crushed. Well, the entire defense was to his left, and he went underneath the block, which put him to the left, and it left a huge hole. If he, what they call spill over the top, which is what you're supposed to do, you're not supposed to go underneath blocks. You go over the top and fight through. And if he had spilled over the top, he would have been right in the hole, and he would have forced that guy either to run over him or cut back inside or bounce outside. But when he went underneath, he made the hole humongous, and the receiver went through it. He played it wrong. The right defense was called. And that's why I tell Bama Nation, the same team that shut down Georgia for a half is the same team that lost to Vanderbilt. Same players, I should say. Don't sell them out too quick. Man, we're running late. I know it. Let's get the break. we'll have an abbreviated version of the Harvest Church Christian Moment of the Week, but we'll keep the conversation rolling right here on the Martin Houston Show on tomorrow.
Go inside the Alabama Crimson Tide with the Gary Harris Show.
Coming up Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. on the Gary Harris Show, it's the Hump Day edition. Matt Coulter with the NASCAR report. We'll recap the Yellowwood 500 at Talladega Superspeedway, including that huge wreck at the end of the race and how the playoff drivers aren't winning any races. Plus, Larry the Music Man drops in to talk Southern rock and more. Your phone calls are welcome. As always, that's the Gary Harris Show, Wednesday morning at 9 a.m.
Catch the Gary Harris Show Monday through Friday, 9 to 11 a.m. on Tide 100.9 and Tide100.9.com.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Wednesday morning. The Tuscaloosa City Council voted unanimously last night to ask AlDOT to revise their plans for construction on the new Woolsey-Fennell Bridge. They want to eliminate the Julia Tutwiler Drive exit off McFarland Boulevard. Construction would be in Council President Kip Tyner's district, and he is against it. Tyner also asked citizens to write to the governor's office to request a change. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news throughout the day. It's free. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Do you have a renovation vision for your home? Let Shoot Masonry and Specialties transform those tired spaces in your home into vibrant havens. Whether it's a culinary dream kitchen, spa-like bathroom, or the warm glow of a brick fireplace crackling on a chilly night, let Shoot Masonry and Specialties create your vision into stunning reality with complete renovations. Experience the wow factor. Contact Shoot Masonry and Specialties at 205-887-3807 today and unleash your home's full potential.
BMW of Tuscaloosa has it all. Ready to upgrade your drive? Enjoy special interest rates as low as 1.9%. Plus, don't miss out on incredible rebates on new BMWs. Get $5,000 off our new 2024 X3 and 2 Series inventory. October is the month of BMW, and BMW of Tuscaloosa is the place to be. Visit us now to save big and discover why so many are switching to BMW. BMW of Tuscaloosa. Take your dreams for a drive.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by Box Eye Care. It's now time for the Harvest Church Christian Moment of the Week. The Harvest Church Christian Moment of the Week. We are glad to have Scotty Hollins with us this morning. Scotty, we'll toss it to you to take it away.
Sounds good. Hey, we're going to continue our series, Fundamentals That Build a Firm Foundation. So we have been looking at really one specific fundamental, that's spending time in God's Word. Because that builds a firm spiritual foundation. We've looked at several passages. We looked at Romans 12:2. Don't be conformed to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you'll be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. We've looked at several passages. Looked at James 1. We've looked at Joshua 1. And so today we're going to continue our message from last week. Which is kind of, as I put it, the verses that we've looked at before were kind of like verses that we would consider practice for the game. All right. And so if the other verses that we've looked at are practice for the game, this passage is all about game day. And so what I mean by practice is when we get a chance to spend time in God's Word every single day, and that's my encouragement, please try to find some time to spend a little time in God's Word every single day. Lots of amazing resources out there. Lots of great devotionals. But when we do that, that's practicing for the game. The game is every day after you close that Bible. Hopefully you got a little bit stored in your mind. Game day is actually living life and seeking to walk in obedience to God's truth. And so this passage we'll look at today, again, a continuation from last week, is a game day passage. And so Adam and Eve were in the Garden of Eden. Adam had been told you can eat of any tree but this one tree. and then he passed the message on to Eve. And so what we see is a game day experience. This is an opportunity to apply it or not. And every single day we have the same opportunity. And so the question is, what will we do? Satan comes to Eve and says, hey, did God really say, that you couldn't eat of that tree? And so here's the question. Like the first thing we considered last week is, do we even know what God has said? And so if we're not spending time in God's word, remember that's the fundamental that builds a firm foundation. We got to be spending time in his word. If we're not spending time in his word, Martin, then we won't even know what he said. So then we can't win that battle. So Satan says, did God really say? And then Eve says, yeah, God says we shouldn't eat of that tree or touch it or we'll die. And so here's what we see. Eve is very aware of what God has said. She won that. That's awesome. Second challenge, he comes to her and he attacks her with this. Well, do you know what God meant when he said it? Basically, you won't really die. God's lying to you. That's not true. God's holding out on you. The only reason he says you're going to die is because he knows that when you eat that tree, guess what? Martin, you're going to be like him. And so what Satan does is he tells her, hey, you'll be like him. God's holding out on you. God's not good. And guess what? She believes him. And so here's what I want to share with you guys. Something that God showed me years ago as I was studying this passage is, in order for us to be prepared for game day, and game day is every day, every single day that we get a chance to live our lives and have an opportunity to walk in obedience to God's word, which is an amazing fundamental that builds that firm foundation. Listen, every single day is game day, and we got to know what God's word says. That's one. Number two, we got to know what he meant when he said it, right? I think Eve allowed Satan to translate this thing for her. We don't need to let him translate it. We need to know what he meant. Third thing, we got to choose to believe it. Martin, one more thing. We got to choose, even after all those three, we still have to choose to obey it. We got to know what he said. We got to know what he meant when he said it. We got to choose to believe it, and we got to choose to obey it. That's how we live the game of life. That's how we play the game of life, walk in obedience to God's word. Martin?
Hey, listen, you need to take this message to the Alabama football team, because this is exactly to give our Alabama nation a understanding. We practiced Vanderbilt's offense. The coaches gave a scheme. They went through it multiple times. The question is, when game time came, did they really believe it? Because there was deception by the enemy. And that's what Vanderbilt's whole offense runs off of, is deception and making you guess and be hesitant. Did they really believe it? Because at the moment of the crucible, they did not do their assignment. They were trying to help somebody else. And ultimately, that's where we are. We have to continually go back. People say practice makes perfect. No, perfect practice makes perfect. So if your practice is a little off, your belief is a little off, your reps are a little off, your execution is a little off, you have to keep going back. And that's what we have to do in our Christian walk. Alabama has another chance to play South Carolina. Will they learn and grow from it? We have a chance when we mess up, Scotty, we have a chance to go back and respond as well. And failure doesn't mean finality. We have to respond. Tell our listeners how they can get in touch with you and keep getting this good teaching, man.
Absolutely. You can go to www.blueprinttuscaloosa.com. You can send me a message there and it comes straight to my email.
Hey, listen, no matter how good you are, how talented you are, how smart you are, if you don't have the fundamentals down and you don't practice it, believe it, adhere to it, obey it, and execute, it really doesn't matter. Push you back at ground zero. Remember this, trust in the Lord always. Lean not your own understanding. Always acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. We'll be back tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel, for more conversation around Alabama and South Carolina. For the Martin Houston Show, powered by Box Eye Care, we say see you on tomorrow.
It's a celebration.
This October, Tanger invites you to shop pink and save lives. Your donation of $10 or more to the Breast Cancer Research Foundation helps fuel innovative research that brings us closer to a cure. It also unlocks exclusive savings from brands like Coach, Crocs, Columbia Factory Store, and more to shop all month long. Join us as we mark 30 years of advancing research and empowering hope. Donate and access your exclusive savings today at Tanger.com.